YouTube. In today's video, we're going to do an oil change on your third generation Toyota Tacoma. So here's everything that you're going to need in order to do your oil change. First one, what I recommend getting is a big oil catch can or pan here that has a little plug. And then also this thing, I got this off of Amazon, I'll link it in the description. It just has a nice mesh here in case your your drain bolt falls in. That way it catches the bolt and doesn't end up in with the rest of your dirty oil. Following that, you will need an oil filter. I like to use genuine Toyota oil filters just because it gives me a little bit of peace of mind here. That should come with 2 rubber O-rings and then the drain plug or drain nipple. Following that, you'll also need one of these. This is how you will safely remove your oil filter. They do sell plastic ones of these, but I went with an aluminum just because it, to me, is a little more durable. It'll last longer. That can also be had on Amazon. And then behind this, we have, of course, our oil, OW20, a torque wrench. That's actually important because we want to make sure that we're torquing everything to correct spec, not over-tightening or under-tightening. Then you're going to need some sort of funnel. I just found this one at Walmart, $2, that'll do you. And then finally, a nice pair of gloves because you don't want to get oil all over your hands. Now, I kind of feel that this goes without saying, but just for the sake of safety, I'm going to say it. Engines are hot. So if you've just been driving your truck or the engine's been running, give it an hour to an hour and a half, maybe even 2 hours to let the oil totally cool down before you go and change it. Oil, especially fresh, hot oil, can definitely give you severe burns and potentially send you to the hospital. All right, so let's get ourselves under the truck. And the very first thing I would actually do is to throw down some cardboard. This is just in case you splash and then you don't get a big old oil slick in your driveway, or like me, in your garage. Now there's 2 different types of skid plates that you could potentially have on your truck. You could have, if you have an off-road model or a sport model, SR5, whatever it is, you're gonna have a skid plate that looks a little bit smaller than this. And all you're gonna do is just drop the entire thing. There's a couple bolts, and I believe that one kind of hangs on here, and then you can just swing it off and drop it. If you're like me and you have a fake TRD Pro skid plate, there's actually an access hatch right in the middle in order to get to your oil filter. And then there's a circle way in the back over here so that you can get to the oil drain plug. So for me, I wouldn't necessarily have to drop this whole thing, but I'm gonna do it just so that anybody who doesn't have this skid plate can see how it works. All right, now we're gonna slide ourselves into the truck because I've finally gotten that skid plate off. And I'm going to show you exactly where everything is. So if we come over here to the back, you're going to see that right by your catalytic converters. You can see I have those shields on it. You have a cross brace here, and then right there, so you can see that bolt looks a little cleaner. That is your bolt that's going to release your oil, and that's where we're going to stick our drain pan under. Then if you come up to the front of the truck, again, once your skid plate is off, you'll find that, and that's where your filter goes. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is actually come up to our engine bay, and we're going to release this. That's how you fill your oil reservoir. Mine's really tight. There we go. And what this is going to do is allow air to flow through there so that way, when we go to drain this, air gets sucked in here, oil drips out the bottom. Alrighty, here comes the fun part now. We're going to take our 14mm socket, get at this bad boy. Definitely want gloves on for this. Man, they torqued the shit out of this. Okay, it should loosen up fairly easily. Make sure you're centered. I would try and get your fingers away from there as much as possible so you don't get covered in oil. And we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, spin. Spin, spin, spin. There she is. Congratulations, we have struck oil. Now we're just gonna let that bad boy drain. You can see this is why you definitely want to wear some gloves here. As you can see here, we've kind of slowed down, but it actually hasn't totally stopped. So you're gonna have to let that sit there for a little bit. I'm not sure how long that's gonna take. But if you look around to my cardboard, you can see this is why you want to have something down, because otherwise you get oil all over the place. Okay, so we've got our bolt here that was formerly holding in your oil. I just cleaned it off a little bit so we could see it better. That's what she looks like. Then we're gonna take our crush washer, this thing, and you're just gonna thread it right on there. Curvy-ish side that way. I don't know if it really matters, but I just like to know that we're nice and flush here. Yeah, I don't know if that honestly makes a difference, because either way you're gonna torque this down and it's gonna seal for you. But I'm gonna throw her on that way, and then we're gonna put this back on the truck. Okay, so we've got this set to 30 foot-pounds. I don't know if you can see that. I just got myself a nice Hyper Tough here. Courtesy of Walmart, only the best. But hey, if it works, it works. Take our 14 mil and just tighten that until you hear the click. Remember, we're looking for 30 foot-pounds here. And I think, let's see, just give it one more. Yep. All right, now for this next part, I'm just gonna use a standard ratchet. And I'm also using a socket extension here. This will just help give me some breathing room because you have your sway bar here, you have all sorts of hoses and stuff, so you're probably gonna need something like that. You just put that right in there, lefty-loosey. She's gonna come off of there, and you're gonna have some oil that's gonna probably come out pretty quickly. Make sure we're lined up. No, not much at all. That's actually kind of nice. Okay, then we're gonna take that little, that nipple, and we're gonna put it on there. And just like Grandpappy used to do on the dairy, we're gonna milk this thing. So there's that little thing. Should come with your oil filter kit. And fair warning, this is probably one of the messier parts of the whole oil change, because in the back you can kind of get your hand out of the way. But this one, we're gonna take that part with the, I don't know, call it a serrated edge, and stick it in there. As soon as you do that, oil is gonna start coming out. Give it a good push. It takes a lot, I guess. Yep, there it is. Pushed it on there. And now we're gonna let your oil filter drain out. And you can hang out down here on the ground, contemplate life once more. Okay, now we're gonna take this bad boy. We've taken our drain plug off. And we're gonna fit her on there. You can see. All right, so we're on. This might be it. Oh man, that's tight. Well, this isn't really ideal, but I gotta use my torque wrench as a breaker bar. This thing is tight as all get out. There we go. My GoPro just died. Okay, cool. Got that started. Throw it back on here. I guess I should get a longer ratchet set, huh? Longer drive. I can feel here. Yep. Hand loosen that. Probably some more oil is going to come out because that's just nature of the beast. Yeah, not too bad. All right, we got our old oil filter out here, and now we're going to, ooh, that's dripping. We're going to pull that apart, clean it, put a new oil filter in it. So we've got our old oil filter cup holder thing here. You'll see there's an O-ring. That's the old one. Just be careful you don't put divots into the threads there. Should come off pretty easy. It's in great condition, but obviously you want to replace that. You don't want to reuse an O-ring. It's not a good idea. Get myself a towel, put that on. And then here's our new O-ring. And we're just going to seat it right around here. It's really, really easy. And then you'll see right here at the bottom, there's a little lip. It's going to sit right on top of that, right about where the threads end. Right there. If you can see that going in all nice. Drop it in, drop it in, drop it in. Okay, we're good. And then here's our old oil filter. Doesn't look too bad, but obviously the whole point of this, we want to replace that. I got my new one. I'll just sit her right in there. Okay, now we're gonna go and just replace this. So we've seated new filter in there. We've put that O-ring on. do is just start with my hand. Hand tighten this, being very careful not to cross thread. Last thing you'd want to do is cross thread this, so that's why we always hand tighten first. I'm going to torque this thing back down. Shoot, I might need an extension for this. Okay, now the next thing you're going to want to do, there should be a second O-ring in your kit that your filter came with. This O-ring is going to get seated over our drain plug here because it's going to get right up in here on this part. Again, we're just hand tightening down to make sure we don't cross thread. And then we're torquing to 10 and 18 foot-pounds respectively, which is pretty much nothing. I mean, that's more or less hand tightened, and my torque wrench actually doesn't even go down that far. And then tighten that one down as you would like any kind of screw. Don't overdo it. You don't want to bust that O-ring, but hand tight should be more than enough for that. Okay, now we're going to put some oil in it. Alrighty, so now we're going to go and fill this with oil. And as this label says, we're going to use SAE OW20. And I use a synthetic. And then we're just going to go down the hatch there. The manual says anywhere from 5.5 to 6.2 quarts of oil. So we're going to go right for about like 6. We'll check our dipstick too to make sure that we have enough in there. Make sure that's seated nice. And then, first one I'm going to do is 5 quarts because I know it's going to definitely take more than that. Just pour in. Give it time to go down. Definitely listen for anything dripping. If you're hearing drips underneath, you might want to go and double check your handiwork. Alrighty, let's pull our dipstick here. Now remember, this is only with 5 quarts. I'm just curious and kind of want to show what it'll look like if your engine is underfilled. Sorry, you have 2 dots here. That's going to tell you how much engine oil you have. Clean her off. You can see those dots a little better. Underfilled, filled, overfilled. All right, now I've got my single quart here. I'm going to start with about half of it, and then we'll check our dipstick and see how that looks. Alrighty, now you can see with that half of a quart, we're past that first dot and just approaching the second dot. So I think I'm going to give it all 6. It should be fine. Also, sometimes you got to let it settle. The oil needs time to actually get into your reservoir and all of that, so that could also affect it. And very last thing, don't forget to put your cap back on. Okay, just have to hand tighten that down, don't go crazy with it, and now we're gonna let the engine idle a little bit and make sure nothing's dripping, and then we're gonna reset our maintenance reminder and we're good to go. All right, we started her up and everything sounds good. Just going through that high rev phase of initial idle. Get underneath. You look good there, nothing's dripping. It's a good idea to let this sit for a little bit too, before you drive it, just to allow the oil time to circulate and all that. And also, never start a car in a closed garage. That's how you get carbon monoxide poisoning. That's not a good idea. You can see my bays are open here. All right, now the last thing I'm going to show you how to do is shut off that pesky warning thing. My key's not even in here, but don't worry about that. All right, we're going to go into settings. Maintenance required, thank you. Go down to settings here. And default settings. Maintenance reset is all the way down at the bottom. Click that. Reset. Yes. Maintenance reset complete. Congratulations, you have done your oil change. That is super exciting. I guess check for any sort of oil warning lights. I'm just getting the key fob light. That about does it. Oh, look at the temperature outside. Nice. Cool. Now, two last things to do before we can call this totally done. Number one, cap up your dirty old oil, take it to an AutoZone, Advanced Auto Parts, maybe Walmart, and make sure you dispose of it properly. Please don't be that person who throws it in the trash, because if you do, you in fact are a trash person. That's not good for the earth. And then I got to throw my skid plate back on, and then I'm totally finished. So there you have it, guys. We've done our oil change. Thank you all for watching, and hopefully you now have also successfully changed your oil. It's really not too difficult. You just got to kind of pay attention to details and make sure that you're using the right tools and parts and oil and all that stuff. So have a great day. Comment, like, subscribe, and I will see you all in the next.